So then going along with that, like boundaries and balance and everything like that. Is it? I don't think we've talked about this on the podcast yet. I think. Well, I think I might have brought up this idea in our conversation with Foggy, but we can see. So one of the thoughts that I have is like how to. Oh my gosh, goodness.
I'm curious to see what you're gonna say.
It's along the lines of like mental health and traumas and everything like that. And so one like the question, then I'll give context. The question is kind of like, is there something where like we focus too much on mental health to where it's actually like degrading to our mental health, to where we're focusing on it so much that it's just like this becomes something that we're so obsessed with, and then we get into this like negative feedback loop,
like glamorizing it kind
exactly.
of. Yeah.
And it's something where I think because basically for me, I love Kid Cudi and Juice WRLD, and it's something where all they talk about is like the struggles that they're going through, stuff like that. And I think because they focus on it so much that they just fall into that negative feedback loop of it never gets better in a way, to where in a way you attract kind of what you're thinking about.
Right. And there's like,
I can't remember the verse of that, but yeah. And so in society, we didn't talk about it at all until recently. And now I think we're on this other end of the pendulum where it's like almost not all of what we talk about, but a very large majority. And so something I'm trying to figure out is like, is there a balance in there? Is there a part where you can like glamorize it and talk too much about it? Like, I don't know.
I mean, I don't think that there's ever like, it's not a bad thing for like too much information, too much knowledge, like learning. Like, I feel like we're constantly going to be learning as society evolves. And I don't really think I mean, yes, there needs to be a balance. I mean, you see with social media, it's people are like, oh, like they look like they're having a perfect life. I love that it's becoming more normalized to be able to show not just your highlight reels and being able to show like, this isn't just my life. I have hard days too. And I love that. But I mean, yeah, if someone doesn't really provide a solution to what they're going through, yeah, they might be just having the constant negative cycle. It's like, okay, what are you doing about it? Like, how are we going to be able to fix that? I mean, I think people should always talk about, you know, what they're going through that they might be hiding, but also it's like, what are you working towards to provide a solution or get to where you want to be?
I like that.
So you study psychology, as I study psychology. Did you ever look at the DSM-4?
I bought that textbook and kept it, and I keep it in my bedroom.
So you've read it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fair to say.
Yeah. So I remember there was one assignment where we needed to
Maybe we want
try
to say what the DSM is.
Yeah,
You know what it is?
Let them know. I forgot. I wasn't going to class like that. Chill out.
He was a different man back then.
We're going to edit that part out. I went to class.
It's essentially just like all like the diagnosis as far as like mental health field. And yeah, essentially if I wanted to open up the book and like, if I was licensed to do that, diagnose you based off of your symptoms, whatever it may be, it's essentially all diagnostics of the psychological realm.
So you use the key word there, licensed. Here's I don't even want to say issue because I don't think it's an issue, right? So I come from a culture where the whole mental health thing was not a conversation. Presently, I don't know how far people have gone in talking about it back home, just generalizing. But I feel like there was a shift here in America when I feel like in the last recent years, a lot of people have been talking about it. But to Chase's point, there are these Twitter or Facebook licensed professionals that are able to diagnose people. I'm like, if you look at the DSM-4, it's almost impossible. It's so hard to come down to.
There's a DSM-5 now.
There's a DSM-5. It's so hard to come down to the right diagnosis for something. And I feel like at times people just say things. I'm like, do you even know what that means?
Right.
Like, how did you come to that conclusion? Like,
I mean, that comes like with anyone. I mean, doctors. I mean, you know, physical therapists, you know, coaches. Like, if you're not actually knowledgeable in it, are you actually putting out information that's going to be beneficial to people? Is it actually going to provide something, or are you just kind of adding fuel to the fire?
Because I was talking to my friend. She's getting her PhD right now in this field. And she was like, one of her struggles is sometimes people just throw words around. She's like, do you even know what that means? I forgot what word she used, but for me, I'm like, I don't know if people always know what they mean when they say certain things. Because I remember one day, for some reason, my eye was feeling kind of weird. And so I went to the mirror and I looked, and there was like this black, it looked like a seed, it was small, on my eyelid. And I was trying to get it out, and it wouldn't come out. And so I went to the infamous WebMD, and it told me I had like cancer or something, and I was going to die. And so I feel in a similar way, people kind of come to these conclusions at times, just speaking generally. And I'm like, do you even know what that means?
Right.
Or you just read that somewhere and you assume that's what you have?
That can be so dangerous.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like if you're not seeing a licensed professional in this field and you're just, oh, I got this because of this. I'm like, no, it could be something else.
Yeah.
You know, and I see a lot of danger there because then you start walking around, this is what I am, but it's like, no, it might not be that. I don't know. That's just my thing where I'm like, some people anyways I've seen where they just assume they have this thing and it might not even be that.
Right.
And you're not licensed to just assume stuff like that.
I think that's why it's important too, especially with social media, when people are sharing their experience with their mental health, like sharing that this is what I went through, this is my opinion of what I went through. I'm not like I think with anything, I think you need to make it very clear that I'm not trying to tell you what you should do, but you might relate, and here's what I went through. So at least it creates dialogue and people are talking about it, you know?